Feels like Christmas.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Here I go. Give me that microphone.
I don't know if I like
Give
this.
me that microphone. Is this thing on?
What's up, beautiful people? I'm Erin, and this is Erin On Demand. And in today's video, we're going to be talking all about how hard it is to have your own product line. So if you're new here and you aren't familiar with me, my business or brand, I am a retired procrastinator, basically. And so I started doing this thing called the top 3 method. And it started when I bought this whiteboard. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna write the top 3 things that I need to do for the day on here. And I'm going to try to get them done. I ended up deciding to start my own product with this because so many of you were commenting, sharing, you guys were out buying the whiteboards and writing your top 3s and how much this method works for you as well. And I just felt like we needed to do something a little extra, okay? And also the entrepreneur in me saw a business opportunity in that. Okay, so we landed on the top 3 notebook, and it's super simple and easy. All you do is write your top 3. It is like the simplest daily planner ever, but it is quality. It is so bomb. But y'all, it is hard. It is so hard having a product. As a new entrepreneur, these are kind of nuances that I'm still learning and figuring out, and I just wanted to be very open and transparent with you guys in this video about some of the things that I have been learning as we have been navigating this entire product pipeline of Erin On Demand. So let's talk about some of my struggles, because that's why we're here, right? So the first thing, the biggest question that I had and still have is how much product do I need to order? This is like such a stressful thing to think about because even for me, like having a large audience, I was still, I don't know, I guess like doing a test run. Like that's kind of how I looked at the initial launch of the top 3 notebooks. We ordered 1,000 units. They were gone so fast. But even given my audience size and even given how long I've been doing the top 3, how many of you all implement the top 3, the fact that, you know, just y'all already know what it is and who I am and you have that trust, it was still like pushing 1,000 orders was a lot. Like that's a lot of product. And I don't think a lot of us really understand like physically how many units that is until you have 1,000 of something in your home or 1,000 of something in a warehouse and you're trying to push that many units and you're like, oh my gosh. And so knowing how much to order, even from the beginning with having, you know, when we initially ordered, I think I don't even know if I had 200,000 subscribers yet, but to only order 1,000 units seemed really low, but it also seemed like a lot at the same time. And I'm really glad that I actually started with that, even though my audience size is big, because it really helped us get a lot of the kinks out. So I advise, if you are kind of in this weird space where you're stuck trying to figure out how many products to order, get a good sense of your demand first. Because on the flip side of that, yes, we ordered 1,000 units and we sold out really quickly. But the next question, I guess it kind of leads me to, is that like, is selling out actually that good of a thing? And to most people, yes, selling out is a great thing, but when there is a high demand for your product and you do sell out really quickly and you're not holding on to any product, it's also like you're losing money. And that's kind of how I felt over these past, I don't know, 8 months since we've sold out of the last batch. It's like, you know, all these people who wanted top 3 notebooks all this time have not gotten them. And, you know, at this point, they may have purchased another, you know, productivity notebook or planner or something else to kind of fill in that gap for themselves. So at some point, you know, you do start to lose money if you sell out too quickly. So that's the kind of, I don't know, the caveat of ordering a small amount when your demand is potentially high. So I don't know. I'm just kind of like word vomiting just the things that have been really like rough with this product. Not to say that it's not an incredible product, that the people who have it don't love it, and that when we did, you know, have all these orders, this burst of orders at one time, we were able to push the orders out really well and efficiently, but it was still like, I don't know, it's still this cross between selling out but also not having enough product and kind of losing money because you aren't readily, you know, you aren't prepared for the sales. The second thing is shipping. So our product is manufactured overseas, and shipping is for one, it's expensive. And for two, most of the time when you're shipping a large amount of products, they're gonna ship by sea, because shipping by air will be extremely expensive. So that is also kind of something that we have been dealing with. And now with the pandemic, there has been just delays at the border, at customs, and this current batch of notebooks sat at the border for like, they sat in customs for probably a month and a half. So we should have had these notebooks. They had been delivered to the port, but it just took forever for them to get through customs, and I've learned that I'm not the only one. So I would say account a long time for shipping, which also makes the supply chain, it kind of throws everything off, because it's like, well, I may launch another batch in August, and then there may be, you know, we may reorder before the order is even done, but we may not get those notebooks until November, prepping for the holiday season. And then that is a higher demanded season. So it's like, well, back to question number one of how much do I need to order? So, you know, when you are, you know, kind of figuring out your whole process, consider the timing of shipping, because that can also kind of determine how many units you decide to order, and just the overall demand of your product. The third just struggle for us was the fulfillment process. And basically that's the process of, once you receive the orders, you know, and you have them, you know, each unit, you have to then put them in the packaging, you have to print the shipping label, you have to put the shipping label on there.
Let me show you guys the assembly line. So we have Sean slowly taking the top 3 notebooks out of the plastic and giving them to me, because for the signed versions we have to take them out of the box so I can sign them. They were already packed. They're already packed in the keepsake boxes. Then I sign once she does quality control. Then I hand it off to Tanya, who puts it back in the box. My mom is putting them back in the plastic, and my godmom is over there assembling the boxes. Corey gets once my mom is done putting them back in the plastic, which is definitely a task, which is also what Aunt Karen is doing. They have the same job. They hand it off to Corey, who puts it in the box, puts the peanut styrofoam in there. And then Aunt Karen puts them in the box out there once they're done. So,
and then you either get a postal office to come pick up your order from your home, or you take all of your orders to the post office and ship them that way. So that's the fulfillment process. And for us, you know, depending on the type of packaging you have and the type of product you have and how many products you have, this can really be a heavy labor lift. And for us, it really was because of the type of packaging we decided. We had boxes. The boxes came flat, so we had to fold them, which takes time. Then you put the unit into the box. Then you have to fill it with some sort of protection so that it's not sliding all around in the box. And then we have to close the boxes, tape the boxes, add the shipping label on, and it's a little bit of a different process the more books you have in one, or, you know, if you have multiple products, you have to order different size shipping packaging to accommodate bigger orders. So the fulfillment process is definitely very labor intensive. And when dealing with a surplus of orders or just a major surge, it becomes very hard. It was so hard for us to fulfill all those orders. I mean, I had so much family over here helping for the first go round. We didn't know what to expect. We didn't know that we were gonna sell out so fast. So I would say a big part of this process and why it took so long for us to restock has also been because we were looking for a fulfillment company. Now, y'all, this is also something that was really difficult for us to find because they're very expensive. And honestly, I was like, I don't even care. Like, I just cannot do that again. And I know the people want the products. I just can't be the one to package them or fulfill them. I cannot have 1,000 or 2,000 or however many thousands of notebooks sitting around in my house. So we shopped around for quite a while. We got on several phone calls with different fulfillment companies. Some charged like an extra $10 to fulfill an order, or every time you pull, they pull a unit. So if there was 2 units, plus if they needed to put a sticker on the box, maybe if we wanted for branding, they charged for every single thing they pulled, which is what they call them, pulls. So, or some people just charge a flat fee. Like the fulfillment company we went with charges a flat fee per box, basically. So we were much happier with that. But, you know, finding and shopping around for a fulfillment company or a warehouse to store your products in definitely is something that I would not recommend rushing through, and just making sure that it feels like a good fit. A lot of the other fulfillment companies that we looked into also were not based in Michigan. They were, you know, they had warehouses other places, so it would have been hard for me to access the product. To this one, I can just drive up there. If I need to grab a box of notebooks or 1 notebook to send to somebody that spoke in the eBrand club or whatever, like I can go and do that. So I wanted to have something that was in close proximity to me, that was relatively flexible, had a, you know, family feel. Like I didn't want it to feel like I couldn't go there and see my product.
Okay, so I just arrived at the warehouse slash office space that the top 3 notebooks will be shipping out of. We are using a small fulfillment company here in Detroit. We're so glad that we connected with them. Actually, he happens to be a family friend, so it just worked out so perfectly. So I'm gonna go in. We are actually having a quick meeting to go over packaging. We're trying to decide if we want to do these boxes again or if we want to mail in poly mailers or bubble bags. So that's been like this ongoing question that we've had over the last couple of weeks. So we're gonna weigh this and just kind of talk about this packaging. All right, here are the notebooks. Whew, I'm so excited to get these things out. And then these aren't ours, but these are all of the notebooks. Here's one up here that we just took out of the boxes. We've been trying to see what kind of packaging we want to use.
Oh, and I found out that, that's what I meant to tell you. The box is still going to be the same price as the bag.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yep, so it should be fine.
Okay, perfect. It takes me longer because I haven't done it in a while. But when we were doing them, it was like we were ninjas. And so then that's pretty much it. And then it just sits right in there.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Yep.
So if I could just keep this, let me just do one more confirmation.
Yeah. So I would say just shop around for a company that you really are comfortable with your product being there, and you know, you being able to go there and see your products. So the 4th thing has just been learning how the supply chain works. And I guess I've already kind of touched on this, but just knowing when to order, knowing how long things will take, making sure that like the product stays flowing and that we keep the momentum up, and basically how we do that. Something that we are kind of starting to look into more is USA based manufacturers. I'm open to switching manufacturers and just kind of trying to explore those options. I mean, it's not something that I have to do immediately. It's something that I'm willing to keep producing with this current manufacturer while simultaneously looking for a United States based manufacturer. But obviously it's going to depend on the cost difference, because it's just, everyone knows it's much more economical to produce products overseas than it is in the United States. But it's interesting because a lot of companies, we've been doing research on getting into Target, Walmart, other big retailers spaces, but a lot of them want their small businesses to be manufactured in the United States. So that's another big reason why we're open to looking into that, because my goal is to be in some large retail spaces such as Target, Walmart, Office Depot, you know, any of those, honestly. So that's another thing, which leads to the fifth and final struggle point, which is tightening up the expenses. So when it comes to this, obviously we have to purchase the products. And the more products you purchase at a time, the cheaper it is. It's going to be cheaper per unit, which means your profit margins are going to widen. It's also going to be cheaper to ship because you're not having multiple orders of 1,000 shipping. You may be shipping them all at one time. So it's not going to be as, I wouldn't think, as expensive to ship them all at once as it would be to keep shipping smaller orders, you know, more frequently. So I would say that tightening up the expenses has definitely been something that I am learning to be a bit more diligent with, because, like, for example, we took pride in the packaging of the notebooks. We absolutely loved the boxes they came in, but boxes way more. We absolutely love the tape that we used, but the tape, you know, you have to wet it, or if you don't have a dispenser, you have to use a sponge, which takes more time. The wet dispensers for packaging tape cost more money. And the tape itself, the packaging, custom packaging tape also costs more money. So those were things that we were like, okay, how can we shift some of this cost, some of these expenses? We also knew that we would have to now begin paying a fulfillment company, and just the factoring that cost into the price per unit. So with products, and then on top of that, you have to stay within a market, like within the market price for a product like this. Like, I can't charge, I mean, there are some people who really charge astronomical amounts for productivity products, but I would never charge like $70 for a notebook, because first of all, it just doesn't feel right. But in terms of the market value, that's too high. So you also have to understand like how your profit margins work and maybe what your goal is. And for me, it's like, yes, branding is important, but maybe we could switch the packaging tape out for stickers, or a sticker to go next to the shipping label, and that would kind of curb that cost and curb the labor that goes into having custom packaging tape, and the expense of it as well, with the tape dispenser and everything. So I say all that to say, sometimes it's hard to cut those expenses and to really say like what is actually important, what's really not that important, and just understanding how to think of things more in a business way and not always being so emotionally attached to things that are just less important. Because at the end of the day, people really just want their product. And I have had to kind of come to that consensus in some ways. So that is like the main thing with this video, is I want you guys to know that I am literally still learning. Like, I'm learning so much as we grow this business. Every time we make another order, we're improving our systems and just the way that we go about this whole product, because it is a lot, and it's a lot of work, and it's a labor of love, honestly. And so I just want you guys to know that if you are thinking of creating your own product, I'm not trying to do this video to scare you. I don't want you to think that it's too much for you to get started with. It's not. It is incredible. It's so much fun, and it's a great way to scale your business. But I do want you to know some of the things that we're running into, and just kind of the flip side. I think a lot of people talk so much about what happens in your business if you aren't selling a lot, or you know, how to sell more, how to do more, how to market more, how to brand yourself more, which are all things that I've talked about a lot. But I also think it's very important to have the conversation of like, what happens when your demand is so high that you can't meet it? What happens when you sell out so fast and you can't get another order in another 8 months? What happens when you have a wait list full of people who are constantly sending emails and asking you like, when am I gonna be able to purchase one? What happens when you feel like you're losing money because you aren't being able to keep up with those things? And so that's the conversation that I kind of wanted to bring to the forefront of like, yes, it sounds so great to sell out, but also in terms of business, how are things actually flowing? And for us, it really did take longer to, you know, produce the second batch because we just wanted it to be right, and I just didn't want to be overwhelmed. And that's part of just being an entrepreneur and having a CEO mindset is like, yes, we can push these orders, but like, let's make sure that the back end is tight before we just keep ordering more and more units and overwhelming ourselves. And then another part of the business is slipping because we're spending weeks on end, night after night, packaging orders. So anyway, a little insight into what's going on with me. But on the bright side, we are restocking the notebooks soon. So we actually have our order in, so they really are going to be going up on my website very soon. I don't want to say a date in this video because I don't want to date it, because I know that at any point they'll be here soon if they're not in stock. So at the time that this is going up, there is an upcoming relaunch. And I will put that information in the description box, and I'm gonna pin a comment to let you guys know the status, whether, you know, once they're sold out, I'll update the pin and the description box. But as for now, you can either get on the wait list or purchase, depending on what it says down there. All right. I love you guys so much. I hope this video was helpful. If you are considering creating your own product, or if you have created your own product and you struggle with any of these things, please let's have a chat down below. I want to know if your stuff has gotten stuck at customs, okay? And if you have any questions for me, I'm here for you. All right, y'all, if this was your jam, you are welcome to join the fam, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.